Hey everybody, welcome back. I want to take a minute here and show you the winter storage room. So out here in the pole barn, we built this room in the corner. We have a 40 by 80 pole barn. This room here is 18 by 20. Over here on this side, we've got a regular door, air conditioning unit, and two ventilation fans here. One of them's got the covers off of this one. We have the Inkbird temperature controller that runs these two fans. When the temperature gets a little warm inside this bee room, whether it's because of the temperature outside or the bees generating heat or a combination of both, these two fans kick on and bring fresh, cool air in here. That air circulates out through these black tubes. One's at the bottom, and then we have one hanging here that goes and ventilates out the top. So the goal here is to exchange air on the regular. This summer we installed a roll-up door. That's going to be very helpful because I can pull the bees in here with the tractor and the forks. I can set the pallets down here, pick them up with the pallet jack, and wheel them right in there. So this room is set up so I can do 10 pallets, and I can stack them 3 high. So I should be able to put in 120 hives in here. Not putting anywhere near that in there this year, but hopefully next year we're up to that number. So this room should serve well for the next several years. So we added the roll-up door this year, and we added an AC unit. The reason for the AC unit is because where we're at here in southeast Michigan, sometimes it warms up in the winter. So in the winter here, we get a lot of warm days. Generally, it's like 25 to 35 here on a typical day in December, January, February. But we get a lot of little warm-ups where it'll jump up into the high 40s, sometimes even into the 50s. And the bees in this room just get too warm for my liking. So this year I put the air conditioning unit in. You can see I put a CoolBot in. So if you're not familiar with the CoolBot, it basically overrides the air conditioner. The AC will set down to as low as 64, but the CoolBot tricks it. It heats up the sensor, and it causes it to run longer, which cools the room down. You set the temperature here on the CoolBot, and it'll trick the AC unit to running and drop this temperature down to the 30s if I want. So you can see there's no lights in this room. Keep the room dark. Once the door is shut and the roll-up door is pulled down, this room is pretty dark. It's essentially nighttime in here year-round. What we do is we move the bees in, we use ventilation systems, and we keep it dark. We try to keep the temperature like 35 degrees. Keeps the bees relatively dormant and inactive. They don't consume a lot of food. So that's just a quick look at the bee room, the winter storage shed, some people might call it, or overwintering room. It's where we're going to move the bees this winter, and hopefully we can keep them cool and dark, and generally just keep them dormant for most of the winter, and lets us hopefully bring some large colonies out in the spring that still have a lot of resources. We don't get resources here in the spring until, probably May. And when you move the bees out in March, they start wanting to consume. So they'll use up all the resources that are in the hive very quickly, and there's nothing to replace it out there in nature. So my theory here is I'll move them inside, keep them dormant. They'll consume little to no food throughout the winter. And then when I move them out in the spring, they're going to have plenty of resources in the hive, and I won't have to supplement as much. That's the purpose for the room. and we're going to be moving them in here. I think about a week from now is my plan. Looking at the 10-day forecast, it's going to cool back off to like 30, and I think when it cools back off, I'll move them in. Right now, I couldn't even get the tractor back there where they're at because it's so muddy. But once the ground freezes, I can bring the bees in and put them inside and put them to bed for the winter.